Welcome to the Deep Dive, the show that's all about getting you straight to the core of what's important. You know that feeling, right? That little surge of frustration when you're trying to quickly change a channel, maybe adjust the volume or switch inputs, and you're just staring at this, pile of mismatched remotes, and none of them seem to be the one you actually need right now. Okay, now imagine amplifying that frustration. Like by 10, 20, maybe even 36 times, you're not just in your living room anymore. Picture this. You're the owner of a really busy sports bar. It's Monday night, maybe 3 different games are on. Every single table is full. And you've got, I don't know, a dozen TVs lining the walls. Each one is hooked up to its own Shaw Canadian receiver, right? And then a customer asks for a specific hockey game, but on that particular screen way over there. Suddenly, you're not just running a business, you're conducting this frantic kind of stress-inducing scavenger hunt for the right plastic rectangle. Trying to remember which one controls which screen, all while the clock's ticking and, your customers are waiting. Well, today we're taking a deep dive into a system that's specifically designed to eliminate the exact frustration, the WolfPad Shaw Canadian tablet TV control system. Our mission for you, the listener, is to really unpack how this innovative system simplifies those incredibly complex multi-screen setups. We'll explore who it's truly designed for and uncover some genuinely surprising details that make it a compelling solution. Not just for businesses, mind you, but maybe even for large multi-room homes. We've gathered insights from, pretty comprehensive product descriptions, feature lists, FAQs, and some real-world user scenarios for this specific control system. So get ready to discover a shortcut to seamless TV management and maybe, just maybe, a lot less stress. Okay, let's really unpack that scenario we just painted. A room full of televisions, right? Each one with its own Shaw Canadian receiver. And this literal heap of individual remote controls, the sheer number of tiny, often identical buttons, the inevitable confusion, that endless hunt for the right one. It's not just inconvenient, it's an absolute nightmare in a fast-paced environment, especially when you have customers waiting for their game to pop up, or staff who really need to be focusing on service, not fiddling with remotes.
Yeah, and what's truly fascinating here, I think, is that the core problem isn't just about simple sort of surface-level convenience. It digs much deeper. It goes into efficiency and what we often term in operations, operational friction. And you have to think about the hidden costs of that friction. It's not just wasted minutes, right? It's increased stress for the staff, a higher chance of errors, like putting the wrong game on the wrong screen. And ultimately, that leads to a poor customer experience, which can subtly erode loyalty over time. It really can. When staff or owners have to spend valuable time fumbling with remotes, it directly impacts their ability to serve customers, manage other crucial tasks, and yes, it significantly contributes to, poor employee morale sometimes. Manual control of multiple screens like that can be incredibly time-consuming and highly prone to error, which, as you mentioned, directly affects the customer experience. The sources we looked at clearly state this system's primary goal: to eliminate the frustration of changing Shaw Canadian channels with their remote controls by making it all happen with just a few simple taps on a tablet. It's really about transforming a chaotic manual process into something smooth, something intuitive, a workflow.
And that transformation from chaos to flow, that sounds like a genuine game changer for these places. Here's where it gets really interesting, I think. This isn't just about some fancy new gadget for, tech-savvy early adopters who love complicated setups. The WolfPad Shaw Canadian system is explicitly designed for a very specific type of user, and understanding this is absolutely crucial to grasping its full appeal and its potential impact. We're talking about people who need powerful, flexible control over their AV systems, but who aren't necessarily AV engineers or IT specialists, or even particularly tech confident.
Exactly. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, it's genuinely about sort of democratizing complex audiovisual control, making it accessible. Historically, managing multiple screens and sources required specialized, often really expensive, programming and highly technical staff. You needed an expert. The sources highlight that this system is specifically designed for individuals like sports bar owners without technical knowledge, right? Waitresses without technical knowledge, hostesses without technical knowledge, bartenders without technical knowledge, and even DJs without technical knowledge. So this raises an important question. How exactly does it achieve this promised ease of use for such a broad range of, non-technical staff? The answer really lies in its core design philosophy. It emphasizes simplicity and immediacy above everything else. The system explicitly states, and this is key, no programming knowledge is required to set up your system, as our interface is intuitive and simple. It's designed for a single, focused purpose: to control your complete system, all on a tablet of your choice. This singular focus means basically no complex coding. Importantly, to operate it day to day. It truly aims to put powerful control in the hands of pretty much anyone who needs it.
Yeah, that's a huge relief, I bet, for anyone who's ever wrestled with a new piece of tech only to find out it practically requires an advanced degree just to operate. And the real-world implications of this design philosophy, they sound pretty profound. The source material points out, for example, that a sports bar owner will never be called at home and asked how you control the matrix once the system is in place. I mean, think about that for a moment. Fewer late-night calls, less stress, more peace of mind for the owner. That's huge. It also notes that the morale of the employee should improve as it is so easy to operate. And, happy, less stressed employees are generally more productive and provide better customer service, right? So this system seems ideal for virtually any commercial environment where quick, intuitive control over multiple screens is just paramount. We're talking about places like sports bars, restaurants, bowling alleys, casinos, country clubs, gyms, sports arenas, even sports training facilities, basically. Any venue where you've got multiple screens as an integral part of the customer experience. And the staff need to manage them seamlessly without, skipping a beat. So, okay, the promise is clear. Simplicity for complex AV setups, even for non-technical users. Great. But what does this all actually mean for using the system day to day? How does it truly deliver on that promise when you're standing there, maybe in front of a dozen screens, needing to change channels quickly, perhaps with a line of customers waiting? What does it feel like?
Well, the design philosophy they describe is genuinely user-centric and remarkably intuitive, it seems. It focuses on making complex tasks feel incredibly simple. The system provides what they call any in to any out control, which, for those maybe not steeped in AV infrastructure terms, is basically the central brain. It lets you take any video source like your Shaw Canadian receiver and send it to any screen independently. This is incredibly powerful, really flexible. It means you can route video from up to 16 Shaw Canadian receivers to as many as 36 TVs in, well, virtually any combination you desire. Imagine a scenario, right? 3 major sports events happening simultaneously. A football game, a basketball match, maybe a golf tournament. You get the football game on half your screens, the basketball on a few others, and golf playing just in a specific corner, all managed from one tablet. That level of flexibility, combined with the simplicity they're stating, is absolutely key for those busy commercial environments where needs change constantly. Now, diving into the user interface itself, it's designed as a single-screen experience. That's a major contributor to its ease of use, I think. There's no complex menu navigation, no swiping through multiple pages trying to find what you need. When you want to control a particular source, you just select the source you would like to control by tapping its button on the tablet. That source button then instantly turns gray, and its name clearly appears right at the very top of the screen. So you always know exactly what you're working with, no confusion. Then, once a source is selected, the TV buttons on the right will turn gray, visually indicating which TVs are currently connected to that specific source you just selected. From there, you just touch any other TV button to put that TV onto your selected source. It's a very direct, very visual mapping. Tap source, tap destination TV. Done.
Okay, that sounds incredibly straightforward, almost like point and click for TVs. But what if you make a mistake? You're in a hurry, you accidentally tap the wrong screen button. Is there a quick way to undo that?
Absolutely. And this is actually a really clever user-friendly feature. It definitely reduces anxiety for staff using it. What's particularly clever is the undo function, as you called it. If you accidentally touch a gray TV button, the one that's already showing your selected source, that TV will immediately go back to the last source it was on. So yeah, if you hit a TV by mistake, or maybe you even just want to quickly flip it back to what it was showing before, you just tap it again. Instantly reverts. This kind of forgiving interface. It's invaluable for non-technical users operating in what can be a high-pressure environment. And additionally, the buttons on the left side of the tablet screen work exactly like the buttons on your original Shaw Canadian remote. So that means you have familiar controls right there for basic channel surfing, volume adjustments, or even recalling favorite channels, all integrated into the same tablet interface. And the flexibility doesn't stop there either. You can use pretty much any tablet you prefer, whether that's an iPad, a Fire TV tablet, a Samsung tablet. Basically, any common Android tablet works. The system achieves all this control by sending infrared, or IR, signals, just like your regular TV remote does, but it's all managed from the centralized control of your tablet. Streamlining communication to all your Shaw Canadian receivers from one place.
Okay, so the user experience is clearly designed for intuitive, almost stress-free operation. That's great. But beyond the immediate interaction with the tablet, what's actually, under the hood? What does your investment get you when you purchase this system? And importantly, what exactly do you, the customer, need to supply yourself? This is where the rubber meets the road, right? Understanding the true value proposition and planning your actual installation.
Right. And this section reveals some fascinating strategic choices by the manufacturer, particularly in how they've managed to keep costs down while still providing what sounds like a robust and reliable solution. The system is priced at $1,250, which, as we'll see in a moment, is a pretty dramatic saving compared to some alternatives out there that can run into the tens of thousands. So when you purchase it, you receive several key components that form the heart of the control system. This includes the proprietary control code for interfacing to a WolfPad HDMI matrix switch. Now, for those unfamiliar, a WolfPad HDMI matrix switch is basically that central traffic cop for all your video signals. It's what ensures that any of your, say, 16 Shaw receivers can be routed to any of your 36 TVs independently without anyone having to physically swap cables around. It manages the routing. You also receive a 6-foot male-to-male RS-232 cable for connection to a WolfPad HDMI matrix switch, which is the direct communication link between the controller and the matrix. You also get the proprietary WolfPad Lite tablet app itself. Now, this is where a little clarification is important. Think of this part as the custom configuration file, and maybe the license key that makes your system unique and tailored to your specific setup, how many TVs, what sources, etc. Then, you'll separately purchase the actual WolfPad app itself from your tablet's app store, whether that's Apple's App Store or Google Play, for a one-time fee of $99.95. That app then integrates seamlessly with the custom configuration file you received. So it's kind of a two-step process to get the software fully operational on your chosen tablet. Crucially, you also receive a modified pre-owned Crestron rack mount controller with an AC adapter. This controller, often referred to by its model number like the Crestron CP2E processor, acts as the dedicated little computer running the WolfPad software. It ensures reliable and swift command execution. You also get up to 16 IR cables for IR-controlled Shaw Canadian receivers. These are the physical wires that connect the control system to each of your cable boxes to send those remote commands. And finally, it comes with access to a cloud-based customizer to build your system, which provides the tools needed for the initial setup configuration.
That's a very clear breakdown of what's included in the box, so to speak. Now, you mentioned the modified pre-owned Crestron control as part of the package. That's a genuinely clever and, yeah, perhaps surprising strategic choice that directly impacts the price point. But for a business owner making what's still a significant investment, does leveraging pre-owned hardware come with any potential long-term considerations? Or maybe maintenance implications, even with a strong warranty? It's always about balancing those cost savings with reliability in the long run, after all.
That's an excellent and very practical question, one any astute business owner should definitely be asking. The manufacturer addresses this head-on by emphasizing that legacy Crestron products are American-built and are made to last. Crestron is a highly respected name in the high-end AV control world, known for its robust, durable, commercial-grade hardware. So while the term pre-owned might initially raise an eyebrow, it's important to understand this isn't like buying used consumer-grade electronics. These are industrial-strength components designed for continuous, heavy-duty operation in commercial settings. And this commitment to quality and durability is further backed by a 5-year warranty, specifically on that control hardware, which is quite reassuring, especially for pre-owned equipment. The strategic choice here seems to be leveraging the inherent reliability of these known workhorse devices to reduce the cost barrier dramatically, without really sacrificing quality or dependability. However, it's equally crucial, as you hinted, to understand what's not supplied with the system. This definitely informs your total setup cost and planning. The matrix switch and Shaw Canadian receiver is not supplied. That's key. And similarly, source devices, WolfPad matrix switch, or a tablet are not supplied. So while the WolfPad system provides the brain and the intuitive interface for control, you, the customer, need to provide your actual WolfPad HDMI matrix switch, all your Shaw Canadian receivers, any other source devices you might have, like Blu-ray players or media streamers, and of course the tablet you intend to use for control.
Okay, that distinction makes perfect sense. It's a control layer solution, really, not an entire AV infrastructure replacement package. And that choice of leveraging the pre-owned Crestron control really does seem to offer a significant financial advantage then.
Absolutely. That's precisely where a huge chunk of the cost savings comes from. The manufacturer explicitly states that doing it this way offers a dramatic lowering of cost compared to competing systems that cost as high as $10,000. I mean, that is a massive difference. It potentially makes professional-grade AV control accessible to a much wider range of businesses that maybe couldn't afford it before. And for businesses, the financial benefits extend well beyond just the initial purchase price. Critically, there are no monthly or yearly fees and no license or subscription fees ever. This means your operational costs are predictable and fixed, eliminating those ongoing drains on your budget that so many software or service-based systems sneak in. And to sweeten the deal even further and really ensure a hassle-free purchase decision, they offer free shipping, a generous 60-day returns policy, a free return label, and importantly, no restocking fee. That combination shows a pretty strong commitment to customer satisfaction, real confidence in their product, I'd say.
Right, we've covered the what, the who, and the how, and definitely the financials. Good stuff. But as with any system designed for a real-world application, the devil is often in the details, those little things. So let's dive into some of the practical questions that often emerge. The nuances that can truly make or break the user experience and actually impact your day-to-day operations. For example, in a busy environment, maybe a bar or restaurant with multiple staff members floating around, can several people use the system simultaneously on different tablets?
Ah, yes, that's a very common and really important question for businesses with multiple employees needing access. While you can technically have any number of iPads or other tablets loaded with the app and connected to the system, it's explicitly designed and described as a single user system. That's the key phrase. This means if one person is actively controlling it, say, changing a channel or routing a source to a different TV, other users trying to use another iPad at the exact same time can interfere with another user. It's not built for concurrent simultaneous control like, say, a collaborative Google Doc or something. However, there is a clever mitigation built in that helps staff coordinate. They state, you can see on the remote iPad what the first user is doing, so you know not to use the iPad until they are done. So if the bartender looks at their tablet and sees the hostess is currently routing a game to screen 5, they can visually observe that activity and just wait a moment before making their own changes. It prevents conflicts. It requires a little bit of coordination among the staff, sure, but that visual feedback makes it pretty manageable in practice. Another practical question often relates to connectivity, the network infrastructure side of things. Many business owners might wonder if a dedicated, separate WI-Fi network is needed just to connect to that Crestron CP2E processor that's managing everything. The good news here is a clear no, the guest WI-Fi system is fine, or any WI-Fi you already have available. This is actually a significant convenience, as it avoids the need for potentially costly additional network infrastructure upgrades, or the complexity of setting up and managing a separate secure network just for the AV control system. It's designed to just slot into your existing setup.
That's definitely a great point about leveraging existing infrastructure. It makes it much easier to adopt. And what about the actual programming and setup process itself? That can often be the most intimidating, maybe the most time-consuming part of integrating any new system, right? How does the WolfPad handle that part to maintain its promise of simplicity, especially for those non-technical users?
Yeah, the programming and setup is designed to be as streamlined as possible, really. There are two main paths, depending mostly on the complexity of your specific system. For smaller one-page systems, think of a simpler setup, maybe fewer screens and sources. The program is actually stored in the CP2E, the Crestron controller, and transferred once the user installs the app. This means it's largely self-contained and pretty much ready to go after some basic configuration steps you do yourself. However, for large multi-page systems, which might require more intricate layouts, maybe custom buttons, or more complex control options, the manufacturer actually steps in to help more directly. They will remotely load the iPad via our customizer, which will be included with the system. Now, to facilitate this remote setup, they do need specific system information from you, the customer. This includes things like input label numbers, so they know what to call each source, like Shawbox 1, Game Feed, etc., and the IR component model numbers for all your Shaw Canadian receivers. That last bit ensures the system can accurately communicate with them using the right infrared codes. There's also a common question that comes up about the physical logistics for this remote loading, specifically regarding, shipping the iPads. The typical answer is, yes, you need to send them in to the manufacturer for that remote loading process to happen. They set it up for you. However, they do offer an alternative for those who might prefer not to ship their devices or maybe want more immediate control over the setup themselves, they state. You can, though, buy the controller at this webpage to do it remotely. This provides a direct path for remote programming by you without having to ship anything, offering a listener choices based on their specific needs and, frankly, their comfort level with sending devices versus handling an initial remote setup option themselves.
It really highlights a commitment to flexibility for different installation scenarios and customer preferences.
Okay, so we've taken a pretty deep dive into the WolfPad Shaw Canadian tablet TV control system. And it's become quite clear, I think, how it aims to transform that often chaotic world of multi-screen management. This really is a system purpose-built for those non-technical users, particularly in commercial settings like bars and restaurants. It tackles the problem of complex AV control head-on through its incredibly intuitive interface, those strategic hardware choices we discussed, and a truly cost-effective approach overall. By adopting a system like this, businesses can, it seems, significantly reduce that operational friction we talked about, improve employee morale by empowering staff with easy tools, and dramatically enhance the overall customer experience by making TV management just effortless. So you've seen how a system like the WolfPad Shaw Canadian can potentially transform a chaotic array of remotes into a single intuitive tablet experience, simplify operations, saving valuable time, reducing stress. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? In our increasingly complex, interconnected world, where else are we still needlessly battling technology? Whether it's in our businesses, our homes, maybe even just in our daily lives, where else are we putting up with frustrating complexity when a simple, purpose-built solution might be just around the corner, waiting to make our lives and maybe our businesses significantly easier? It really challenges us to think about how much productivity and perhaps peace of mind we might be leaving on the table just by tolerating unnecessary complexity day after day. Something to ponder, perhaps, as you navigate your own tech landscape. Thanks for joining us on the